On today's Women in Sport, we speak with retired jockey Deb Osbourne and marathon kayaker Julie Foreman. We'll also be going on location to check out the world of 10-pin bowling and meet bowler Caitlin Bissel.
We're joined today by Deb Osbourne, a retired jockey who's spent more than 35 years in the industry. She's won countless cups and medals and in 1980 became one of the first female jockeys to ride in Brisbane. Deb, welcome to Women in Sport.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for coming in today. So let's talk racing. How did that work, that you were one of the first women in horse racing in Brisbane?
Oh, well, I sort of fell into it, really. I started riding, teaching at a riding school at Rochedale, and the gentleman that owned the riding school had some racehorses, and so I sort of started riding track work there, and ended up meeting my partner at the time, who was a horse trainer, and so yeah, ended up riding it. And
just fell in love with the...
Yeah.
Is it scary to go that fast on a horse?
No, it's beautiful.
Is it?
It's
an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, it's great. I'd love to be able to do it now.
So what's changed from when you started to today? What's changed about the industry, do you think?
Oh, there's a lot more women in the industry now. When I first started, even strappers, there was very few.
So what's a strapper?
Women's strapper. The ones that sort of walk around and they look after the horses and clean them and take them to the races and look after them. It's, yeah. Yeah. So that's how I started off, because a woman couldn't be an apprentice.
Really?
When I first started.
Wow.
They say, well, we'd give you a licence to ride around the country, in the bush meetings, but you couldn't be an apprentice because women just weren't apprentices. Was it
because they were scared that you would get hurt? Is it?
I just think it was, they never had them before, so it was just a man's job, so that was it.
Crazy. And now, would it be, 1/3 to 2/3? Would it be half and half, men and women? Would it be?
It's probably still male dominated, but yeah, there's probably, any race meeting you go to now, you'll find a half a dozen girls riding, so it's a lot more popular. I was one of the last lady jockeys to get open jockey's licence without doing an apprenticeship. Oh, wow. I tried for 2 years to get an apprenticeship and they wouldn't let me have one. No, because I was over 21 at the time, and the only apprentices at that time, they would had to be to apprentice to their father or something like that. Yeah.
Geez, it's really, really changed since those days. That's incredible. So, I mean, how do you feel when you look around the track now and you see all these women doing the jobs? It must be really...
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. So what did you love most about being a jockey?
Probably the adrenaline rush, and just the difference in riding sort of a slow horse to a good horse. It was just an unbelievable feeling.
And you're in the Guinness World Book of Records?
Yes, that was for lady jockeys only. We went to a country meeting up at Cumbia, which is up sort of Gympie way, and there was a few apprentice girls by then. I think it was like 1985 or something. And there was about five women there on that day, and we rode every winner. There was I think six races. We rode every winner, every second placing, and all but 1/3 placing. So the girls rode the card, and it went in the Guinness Book of Records as the first ladies riding every race.
And
winner.
Is it still in there now, today?
Yeah. Well, there has been others since, but yeah, we were the first in...
Fantastic.
I don't know whether it was in Australia or just in Queensland, but yeah.
All right. Look, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you'll stick around and have a chat with our panel shortly.
Great.
We'll talk a little bit more about leadership in sports. So, Deb, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. This is Women in Sport. My next guest is Julie Foreman, a 6-year marathon kayaker who's won an Australian title. Welcome, Julie. Thanks for coming on Women in Sport.
Hello, Rachel.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. So you've been involved in kayaking for a number of years. What do you love about it?
The outdoor
Yes.
environment it's wonderful. Every time you get on the water, there's something different to see and experience.
So is it peaceful when you're out there? You just
Sometimes it's peaceful and sometimes it's not.
Right. So a lot of training, obviously.
A lot of training, yes. I haven't been training as much this year because I've had an injury, but 4 times a week. My 4th day would be a Sunday when I can train longer distances because at night, afternoons when I get to train, you're battling the light to get a distance in and then to get back before sunset. Yes.
Okay. So what keeps you loving it? Is that being outdoors and
the outdoors, the fitness.
Yes.
The benefits to my health has been just amazing. I'm a chronic asthmatic, and the more I started doing the sports, the more I saw the benefits of it for my asthma, my physical fitness, toning up, which all us girls want.
Absolutely.
And it gave me the strength to say, I can do this, I can achieve this, and it was a great goal setter that I managed to do this distance and then that distance and gaining these skills and until I was asked, would you like to go and compete, and that I did.
So what was the competition?
The competition was a 8-kilometre paddle.
Wow.
And now I'm doing further competitions, further in distance, and nationals last year it was a 19-kilometre paddle, and that was a lot of training. That was gym work as well as on the water.
Because it would be a full body workout, wouldn't it?
It's a full body workout. People don't see what happens below the water because when your legs are in the boat, because your legs are also moving, feet, ankles, the whole body
too. That would be a really big part of it too.
Balance is a huge part of it. Because I started kayaking late, I wasn't brought up on in an international craft. So for those ones, you need a really good balance. My boat has a little bit of a flatter bottom. It is a racing K1 boat. It's tippier than a standard K1, TK I should say, but it's still quite tippy, so you still need the balance in that. But it's the K1s that are the international boats. They're what people usually aim for. Okay. And I am learning to train in a K2 at the moment with my partner. And, sometimes it's white knuckle, especially if you've got wind gusts.
Oh, right.
Yes, or other motorboats on the water. Because you get the swells, you get their wash. Debris on the water. There's a lot of debris you have to try and avoid. But it's still exciting. And the wind in your face. Yeah, it's pretty unbeatable,
isn't it? And do you fall in a lot when you're first learning? I mean, is that something that happens?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and especially if it's winter time because we still paddle in winter.
Right.
You tend to, and especially if you're in a K1, yes, you do tend to fall in because the best way to describe the bottom of or the hull of a K1, you have an egg. My boat is like the bottom of an egg. A K1 is like the top of an egg, quite pointy.
Right.
They come in different pointinesses, if that's...
No, I'm sure that's the word. I'm sure of it.
That way, that's So it's... you soon learn to balance, otherwise you just keep going back in the water.
And that would be pretty miserable in winter. Oh, I'm pretty tempted to give it a go, I'm not going to lie. I think it sounds kind of fun, not the winter falling in bit. So, Julie, you've got something to show us?
Yes.
What have we got here?
Fantastic.
So that's your kayak?
Yes, my kayak.
Wow.
Some of my medals.
Fantastic.
This is my national that I did last year down at Penrith. Really chuffed about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So how many medals have you won?
I don't know.
Lots.
So
see, that's a good sign when you can't even remember how many you've got.
Yeah, so number of them there. I'm quite proud of that.
Right.
And last year, the national one was last year where I had to do 19K, so that was a lot of training, but it was great experience. Paddlers from all over Australia. But in July this year, I came back from doing nationals in Reading in the UK. 10 minutes before the race, they gave me a boat, which was a K1 that I was previously talking about. So I've never paddled that style of boat.
So no pressure. Here's a completely different boat.
No pressure. Here's your boat, and and did the nationals and just pipped on the line for 10th. So.
That is impressive. That is very impressive.
The adrenaline with that was just amazing.
Were you amazed at yourself afterwards? Well, I did that. I did it.
I did that. And there's hundreds of people turn out at these nationals, and just to be competing in that elite competition that was there.
That's
beyond words.
Beyond words. Thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, moving on to our panel discussion, we're talking about leadership in sports. Julie and Deb, thank you so much for joining us for this and sticking around. So today's all about leadership in sports. What are some of the things that you think young women in particular can learn about leadership from playing sports, particularly in your sort of fields as well? Who'd like to go first? Deb, over to you first. Particularly with horses, because you have to be constantly thinking about...
Oh, definitely, because you're not just thinking about yourself, you're thinking about the animal around you and, the animal that you're on and the people around you. So you have to be very concentrated on what you're doing.
Yeah, so I imagine it would make you sort of maybe more empathetic, that you're constantly aware of what's around you and who's around you.
And definitely.
Taking care of the welfare of another.
It's a split-second decision when you're racing.
Yeah.
And it can be life and death, really, to other jockeys as well as yourself.
Absolutely.
And the animals as well.
And I mean, horse riding and horse racing, it's a pretty early start in the mornings, I believe. So 3 o'clock in the morning we used to get up. We'd have the horses at the track by 4. Yeah. Riding your first one. Freezing winter mornings out there riding. It must have been just lovely. I mean, you've got to love it and be dedicated to it.
Yes.
So in terms of equality in both of your sports, that's just a question that we like to ask all of our panel guests is, is it something, Deb, we spoke about it. Julie, what about kayaking? Is it equal male and female participation? Is it...
To get equipment first, like our gear, it's mainly male dominated. It's harder for women to get the same equipment, like clothing-wise to start with. That's hard to get because a lot of women in Australia don't kayak or don't compete and don't do the sport because of what if. When they're racing, they have men's races, they have the women's races, but when it comes to doubles, they do mixed doubles, which is great. There's no prize money in our sport as such, unless you go to like your Olympic levels, your world champions, and they're sponsored.
Right, and are the men more sponsored than the women, do you find, or is it pretty equal across the board?
That I don't know, but I have seen in the past that the men actually get more sponsorship than the women.
So it's something that young kayakers need to be aware of.
Yes.
And Deb, you've already seen some pretty significant changes in horse racing in the years that you've been doing it, and that's really exciting because, male and female jockeys all race in the same races.
They do now.
Yeah, which is very, very exciting.
First up they didn't. There was only specifically women's races.
Right.
But, they do now.
They do. Awesome. Well, look, thank you both so much for joining us today and sticking around for our panel chat. Hope you've had a good time, and we'd love to see you back here on Women in Sport. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
And now it's time for some sports facts. Figure skater Michelle Kwan won her first world championship in 1996 at the tender age of 15. She then went on to win several more championship titles in 1998, 2000, 2001, 2003 and 2005. Lydia Ko was the youngest player to win a professional golf tournament at the age of 14. Her golfing gloves are on display at the World Golf Hall of Fame. In 2015, Michelle Payne was the first female jockey to win the Melbourne Cup. A movie about her life entitled Ride Like a Girl is set to be released later this year. Stephanie Gilmore is an Australian surfer who has won 6 world championships in surfing. In 2010, she was inducted into the Surfers Hall of Fame. The Women in Sport crew recently visited Hyperbowl at Strathpine to find out more about women's bowling leagues. Let's take a look.
My name is Caitlin Bissel. I'm 19 years old and I started bowling when I was 9, so that makes 10 years of bowling.
My name is Tracy Rhodes. I'm 44 years old. Pretty much born into it. Just after my mother had me, she was roped into a learn to bowl class at Timpin Bowling and in Sydney. So I was going to bowling and pretty much being put into childcare and everything like that. I was starting bowling. I was first in the league from about 6 years old.
I bowled my first tournament when I was 9 years old and I won first place. And ever since I've been involved in the Queensland team, Toowoomba team, Ipswich team. I think it's pretty important for women in general to stay active in sports because it keeps not only the body healthy but your mind. It keeps it constantly thinking about new strategies to improve yourself physically and mentally.
A sport where you can be a single bowler, you can be a team bowler, double bowlers. There's not the pressure like there is in football and those sort of things to be the best. There's a very fair handicap system in place where it gives everybody a go, whether you're 6 years old or 90 years old. So it's a fair sport in those things. I actually met my husband in a Timpin Bowling centre back in 1999. So yeah, still together 20 years later. So yeah, most definitely have benefited from my social life. Yeah.
What's your husband's name?
Rudy Teresi.
By any sport, you get to meet new people, be involved in a team, you can bowl as an individual. You can just take your own time on the lanes. You just bowl the ball and it's concentrated on you, no one else. I mean, just come in for a try. What's the worst you can do? Bowl 100. And if you're any good, just keep coming in, buy yourself some shoes, get a good ball.
Especially in Australia where we're unfortunately not as competitive, or a lot of people don't see our sport as a sport, where it most definitely is. It's always sat in the top 10 sports, whether it be a recreational or a sports sport. Where if you go over to Korea, China, USA, Timpin Bowling ranks nearly as high as your tennis, gridirons, all that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, we don't have that in Australia. It'd be great to see that one day. But yeah, definitely a great sport to be in.
Bowling isn't necessarily one of your well-known sports, but it is a sport and you actually use every muscle in your body to like out of sync. Using your mind because it's a 90% mental game, as well as releasing a ball, making sure you release it right so you don't injure yourself.
Just have a go. As I said, temping bowling is like, I'm not a runner, I can't lift my own body weight, I can't do any of that. Bowling is something that provides a platform for a lot of different body types. There's a lot of different ball weights, etc. So just come have a go. Just walk into your local bowling centre and ask for a game and have a practice game, have a social game, and then once you're confident, then you get into basic leagues and, like Caitlin, just start working your way up the ranks.
If you'd like to know more about Strathpine Bowling Club, visit their website, hyperbowl.com.au/Strathpine. That's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us. And if you'd like to share your thoughts on how you believe sports have changed for women over the years, let us know. You can jump on our Facebook page, wsn.com/Facebook, or visit the website, wsn.org.au, and let us know your opinion. We hope you'll join us next week. I'm Michelle Anderson. Thanks for joining us on Women in Sport.